All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're going to dig into the technicals of SoFi Technologies. This is a stock that's been on an absolute tear, and now, well, it's sitting at a really fascinating crossroads. So let's just jump right into the big question. After this huge run-up, SoFi stock is definitely showing some signs of slowing down. So is this just a quick breather before the next leg up, or is something else going on? Is it about to take a tumble? We're going to break down a professional technical analysis to see what the charts are really telling us. So, first things first, let's set the stage. To even begin to guess where SoFi might be going next, you really got to appreciate just how far this stock has come in a super short amount of time. I mean, look at this journey. The stock had an absolutely fantastic 3 months. Back in mid-July, it was sitting just over 21 bucks. Then it just rocketed to a peak above $30 in late September. Since then, it's pulled back a bit, settling around $26 by October 10th. It's a classic story, a huge surge followed by people taking some profits off the table. And get this, that little dip we just saw, that was after the stock had already jumped an incredible 23% over those 3 months. I mean, that is not a small move. It shows a really powerful, really consistent bullish trend that got a whole lot of people excited.
But here's where the plot thickens. You see, the price alone doesn't tell the whole story. Things get a lot more complicated when you look at the volume. How many people are actually buying and selling? And that's where we start to see the first hints of a potential shift in the winds.
Just look at these massive spikes in trading volume. On October 10th, for example, more than 106 million shares traded hands. But here's the really important part. That huge volume happened on a day when the price fell. You know, when you see a ton of activity, but the price is actually going down, that's a huge signal that sellers are stepping in with force and basically overwhelming the buyers. So, what does this all mean, right? Well, while the big picture over 3 months looks amazing, we're starting to see these little cracks in the bullish momentum. To understand them, analysts look at something they call the prevailing winds of the stock. Now, these winds are really just moving averages. Think of it like this. The short-term averages, that's like the wind in your face right now today. The long-term averages, that's the huge, deep ocean current that's been moving for months. And for SoFi, well, those two things are pointing in completely different directions at the moment. And this chart, wow, it just lays out the conflict perfectly. You see the stock's price at $26.19 is currently below its short-term and medium-term averages. That's a bearish signal. A sign that the recent energy is negative. But, and this is a big but, its price is still way, way above its 200-day long-term average. That tells you the big picture trend is still positive. It's a classic tug of war. Okay, so this all builds up to a classic Wall Street story, right? A tale of two opposing forces. You've got the bulls on one side thinking the price is going up, and the bears on the other thinking it's heading down. And right now, the charts are giving both of them plenty of ammo. This slide really lays out the battlefield for you. On the bullish side, you've got that solid long-term trend we just talked about, plus some other positive momentum indicators. But then, you look over at the bear's corner. You've got the price dipping below those important short-term averages, and of course that really significant high-volume selling day we saw on October 10th. The signals are pointing in both directions at once. So who's actually winning this fight? Well, we can look at an indicator called the RSI. Think of it like a power meter for the stock's momentum. If it's high, the bulls are in charge. If it's low, the bears are winning. SoFi's RSI is sitting at 47.42. That's not just neutral, that's like perfectly in the middle. Neither side has the upper hand right now. So when all the fancy indicators are basically shrugging their shoulders, what do traders do? They go back to basics. They start watching two very simple, very specific price levels. Think of them as the floor and the ceiling of a boxing ring. The first number everyone's got their eyes on is $25.73. Analysts see this as the key support level. This is the floor. It's the line in the sand that the buyers, the bulls, absolutely have to defend. If the price hits this and bounces, that's a great sign of strength. And then you've got the ceiling. That's at $26.38. This is the immediate resistance, the first wall the stock has to punch through to prove it's got the juice to move higher. A clean break above this level would be a very bullish signal indeed. And here's the real kicker. The stock right now, it's trading at $26.19. It's literally stuck in this tiny little space between the floor and the ceiling. It's trapped, which of course leads to the multi-million-dollar question on everyone's mind. Which way does it break from here? So, Depending on which way it breaks out of this little box, the analysis points to two pretty clear scenarios for what could happen next.
All right, so here are the two potential paths. The bull case is straightforward. If the buyers hold the line at that 2573 floor, the stock could build up enough steam to try and break through the ceiling. But the bear case is just as simple. If that floor breaks, it could be like pulling a plug, triggering more selling and sending the price down toward the next support level, which is sitting around $25.18.
Okay, so let's wrap this all up. What are the key takeaways here for you? First off, SoFi is basically just catching its breath, consolidating after that huge run. Second, remember that big picture trend? It's still bullish, but, and this is a big but, that short-term energy has definitely faded, so you got to be careful. And really, it all boils down to that battle between the floor around 2573 and the ceiling at 2638.
At the end of the day, what all this data is telling us is that SoFi is at a genuine crossroads. It is perfectly balanced on a knife's edge between the bulls and the bears. And that leaves us with a big final question. Is this just a pit stop before the next big climb, or is this the very beginning of a much longer slide? The answer is probably going to be written by which way it breaks out of this tiny channel.